Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jump Up Supercast, the only podcast on the internet where night mode is now enabled. I'm Will, and joining me this week, Brandon.
Hi, everybody.
Ills.
Night mode is the only mode I live in.
And Muzamil.
Really, everything should have a night mode. It's a shame that we're just implementing this now.
Yeah, I agree. Why isn't Facebook Messenger has one, but not regular Facebook, and it's
That's
also
baffling.
Instagram doesn't have
you
one.
know, and like iOS kind of has it now, but like still not fully. It's just like it's a mess.
Half steps.
Yeah,
Cowardice.
just everyone should have a night mode. It's easier on the eyes.
It really is. It really is, and you know, it's all about the eyes nowadays.
Yeah,
It's all about the eyes.
What do you do without your eyes?
No,
you know?
It's true.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't even look at a
listen to
video
this
game.
podcast, though.
With the
You
amount
could
of
listen to the
time we
podcast,
spend staring at our screens all day, whether it's your computer at work, your phone, your TV, playing video games, we need the night modes.
I didn't know this would happen, but I'm happy we're getting it off our chests.
You know, it's got to be said. Somebody's
true.
going to say it.
This is a public service announcement. Only we are courageous enough. Besides the lack of night modes, how are we doing this week, boys?
Great.
I am feeling E3 ready already.
Baby. You've been feeling it. We talked about E3 like 3 weeks ago.
Pretty much like every day I've been like, yeah, now's the time to get hyped for E3, right? And they're like, no, not yet.
At the time of the recording, we are 1 month off officially. So
Okay, so now you can let me have it, right?
I feel
Now
like
you
when you're within a month, you're within the acceptable range of getting excited.
Okay.
Aren't we
alright.
less than that?
What?
Aren't we less than that now?
Maybe. I thought it started on the 16th, but either
No,
way.
it's like
when
the
you- when
12th
you
or
hear this.
something.
The Microsoft conference is on the 9th, June 9th.
Jeezers creepers. Wow, we're
actually-
even closer.
Wow, we're actually way less than a month.
So,
Well, I was thinking about the public being the public starts on like the 11th or 12th or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the show floor opens on the 11th. So.
But, you know, in some ways, well, it's funny because we last year we did like in the month before E3 talking about different conferences like in the build up because we have enough news this week. Sorry, EA, you're not getting anything. We're not even going to talk about you at all. So because instead,
They're really upset about that.
they're really. I mean, hey, Fallen Order
cancel
might
this
be
podcast.
cool. We still have the Star Wars game. So that'll be weird. But we had news this week. We had a lot. We got plenty to get to. So why not get to it? We got, speaking of games that are near E3, in some ways I feel like I'm already looking past it, because we got a direct for Mario Maker 2, baby.
Super Mario Maker 2.
Oh,
Correct. And we, you know, it's weird, because we got this announced back in February at the last General Direct, and then it said June. We said 4 months away. Wow, what are they going to do? They got a lot to put in there. They just took 3 months off. They said, we don't need it. We're going to do more a month off. It don't matter. And it didn't matter because they had 15 minutes. And honestly, when I saw 15 minutes, I thought, you know, they'll probably show off the co-op building. You know, we saw some stuff in some Japanese gaming magazines of like Cat Bowser, and we thought, oh, they'll show off that stuff. They went far above my expectations, to be honest, with this baby. A breakneck pace is the only way I could describe what they did once they started hitting the new things. And so because of that, I have the list in front of me, and we're just gonna go through it.
Wow.
Oh, I'm excited.
So first things first, they showed off some stuff that we had already seen in that first trailer, but they codified it. One, slopes. Gotta have those slopes, baby. Everyone said that's the thing you gotta add for Mario Maker 2. It's here. There's 2 different levels of incline, and conveyor belts can now be slopes. So
It's funny that's, you know, the thing they started off with when they first announced the game, and that's what they're starting off with here.
They
Like, they just know
want to
that
hammer it
upfront.
in. Hey, like
Yeah.
you guys thought, oh, slopes is the biggest thing missing from Mario Maker. Well, here's your goddamn slopes. Now let's go talk about everything else.
for example, the angry sun from Mario 3 is here.
Yes.
Looks very weird in the new Super Mario Brothers U style. Please look that up. It's a weird looking creature, very like
It's
weird
wonderful.
and Incan. But I love this, by the way. In the English Direct, it was everyone's greatest fear, but in the Japanese Direct, it was everyone's favorite guy. And I thought it's very funny. They think the English people are cowards because we're afraid of the sun, but the Japanese
We really
love him.
do. I mean, to be fair, nobody likes that son.
He's a freaky guy.
Yeah.
Nobody likes the sun in general. Fuck
That's
that.
true. I mean,
We
so
were
are only
just
source
railing
of
about
vitamin
dark
D.
mode, you know. We were just railing about night mode,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, fuck the sun.
Yeah, it's true.
Pokemon Sun is the worst version.
Wow, hold on. But so also after the sun, they showed that off. You can now do snake blocks are in this now, and there is the 2 speeds. There's the blue ones which are faster, and you just draw the path you want them to take on your screen, or I guess using your controller if you're playing on the TV. And then this one, they're adding in programming, boys, on and off switches for the red and blue blocks, and they show a ton of different ways that this is applied.
Yeah, there's a lot of applications for the on-off switch, like surprisingly so.
Yeah.
So that's wild.
This is generally a thing that's true of this entire direct. If you go back and watch it, they do a really good job of visually illustrating different applications. They show one where you have a shell hitting the block over and over to help you make progress. They show one where it's almost like a timing based thing, and then there's ones where you can attribute it to tracks that with platforms that move to have them swap. So they're getting to that point where like truly the stuff that is in pretty much every Mario game is now in here. For example, seesaws now also new again. So that's you can use those on said tracks, and standing in the middle. And seesaw levels are always very stressful for me. I always get nervous on them. And then after that, they have the water level, which is. They showed that in the first trailer, but they specified a lot of it. It's exclusive to the forest theme, which we'll get more into the themes later. But you can change the water level as the level goes on, and there's 3 different speeds you can have the water level change at. So they show that, not only does Mario control differently, but enemies act differently in the water. So it's a big modifier, obviously, if you throw this on your level.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
This one, and then not only the water that you can change the level of.
There's like lava. Yeah.
And then you can modify that water with another thing we'll talk about later. But that was really cool. And then another one, vertical sub areas. This is a huge one. With Mario Maker 1 in general, verticality was the biggest limiting factor. A lot of the times you couldn't build very high in a level. Mario Maker 2 in general, you can build higher now, but this is a whole sub area dedicated entirely. You're going upwards, baby. And there's auto-scrolling with that, too. And they show off that. They show off the scrolling, which is... This is another thing that's really good about Mario Maker, is that, like, they could have it look very confusing, but the visual language of it is very self-explanatory. And, like, when you see them, you see the lines of how it's scrolling, and you see them drag it up, and you see the speeds, you immediately understand what pretty much all of this means. Which is really cool. So you can now have it change directions, go diagonally straight across, any direction you want it to scroll, essentially. And there's 3 different speeds you can set. So that means that you can have auto-scrolling levels that are actually very good now, because they were oftentimes the worst in Mario Maker 1.
Yeah, but now that it's fully customizable, it's like it changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, even if you want to, you can make them even worse.
It's true. There's the looming threat of just these garbage stages that people love to throw on there that
Very fast scrolling stages.
Yeah.
That go in lots of different directions very quickly.
Those auto scrollers where you just have to stand still and let everything happen to you. There's going to be a million of those day one. But
there will be.
Just
if you want to
get ready for the auto scrollers with the seesaws.
It's true. Oh no. That's a curse. But if you want to stop the scrolling, they now have this. This is actually super huge. I love this. If you do lines straight up vertically all the way to the ceiling, you will stop scrolling. And you'll create an enclosed space. Because the thing was that in Mario Maker 1, if you wanted to make secrets, you had to put them so far away you couldn't see them from anywhere else. Now, essentially, it'll just look like it's its own contained room if you make a box, essentially. Which is something I hadn't thought about, but I was like, man, happy that exists.
I mean, this just makes the whole sub areas way more expansive now, right? Like you can just do so much more with them, which is great.
And I thought really cheeky, when they have the little example, they show the 2 little secret areas in level 1, 2 of Super Mario Brothers. You see the area where there's all the coins and the secret 1-up mushroom, and then the warp zone right above it. Yeah. And I thought that was very cute. And then besides that, they show off a new, instead of having the helmet like was in Mario 1, now you can ride the dry bone shell as though it's like a little raft. where you can float on lava, and you can also turn into a little dry bones and be invincible for like a couple seconds, which I imagine for very hard levels, people will use that very nastily. That's
you'll
pretty
have
cool.
to you'll have to pixel perfect time your drop.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ideas in here, like that never.
And like they're going beyond the scope of like usual Mario now, right? With Firmly, like it's just like here's just random shit, which is in the best way possible, right? And it's just that's wonderful.
And then these things sort of tie together. There's big coins now, so there's 10, 30, 50. And those help tie into one of the other biggest things. Clear conditions now exist for levels. So they showed a bunch of different ones in the little menu very quickly. One's like, beat the level without touching the ground. Beat the level while being powered up with the mushroom. Beat the level while killing 7 Koopas. Various things like that. Beat the level while having a certain number of coins collected. And so I think that was, when I saw that, I was like, man, that's just another layer on top of just the idea of like beating a level in Mario is such a universal concept. Having this other thing you have to keep track of at the same time helps give just so many new ways to play and to design, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like in general, like just the sheer customizability of this game, right? Like, being able to specifically set where a stage scrolls, being able to specifically draw where a path goes, and now just being able to be like, hey, you have to even something as simple as, hey, you have to beat Bowser to pass the level, right? You couldn't do that before, now you can. It just opens the door to so many possibilities, right?
Yeah. I even thought about that because there were so many times in Mario Maker 1 where I just skipped past Bowser,
Yeah, and now you can make that mandatory. You
Yeah.
have to beat Bowser to progress, and so that's
Yeah. And then besides that, we get into a few more little things. There's parachutes now, which means that anything that touches them will drop more slowly. They show that with a thwomp slowly making its way down instead. Boom Boom and Pom Pom. So there's nice more boss variety because in the last game there was really only Bowser Jr. and Bowser.
Boom Boom is a mad lad.
He's a mad lad. I was watching on Twitch. The chat popped huge when they called him a mad lad. And then maybe the last sort of like big on the Universal creator side of things, there is desert, snow, forest, and sky themes now.
yeah.
Which are cool. Just nice for visual variety, right?
So
Yes,
they doubled the amount of themes, right?
Yes.
Which is nice, very nice.
I think I might be alone on this, but my favorite thing about all these new themes is new music.
Extremely.
Yes.
And I'm
Yeah,
happy.
yeah.
So I'm just really excited about
Because
that.
like some of those games did not have those themes originally, right? And then
like the original Mario Bros.
So they had to write new music to fit and that would fit in that style. And who better to do it than Koji Kondo, right?
Yeah.
And that's very cool.
And then that's not enough with those new themes because there is a magical modifier. There is, to go with the angry sun, the happy moon.
Yes.
Moon. Pokemon Moon is the best version, by the way.
I mean, I guess that's now clear because he will help you out. If you touch the happy moon as it comes at you, you'll destroy all the enemies on screen. But that is not all. It gives a night backdrop, but it changes depending on the theme aspects of the level. So, for example, on the Grasslands theme, it just makes all the Goombas float, and they just sort of are kicking very sadly in the air, which is very funny. With the Underground, it makes everything upside down. With the Sky theme, everything is low gravity, both of those are very Mario Galaxy.
Yes, for sure.
Then the snow, in the snow level, the ground becomes slippery. In the forest level, the water becomes poison water, so it kills you if you touch it. In the desert, there's a sandstorm, and I think that's it. Am I forgetting one? I think I'm forgetting one.
There was one that makes even more gravity, right? I can't remember which one.
I don't remember for sure, but like there's just all sorts of crazy conditions here. And then so I mentioned how we doubled the amount of themes, and they essentially doubled it again,
Yes.
Which is fantastic. I mean,
And some items transform. For example, they have the return of the notorious poison shroom in its own way. Your happy super mushroom now becomes a rotten shroom that will chase you down and try to kill you. Horrifying. Then we got some more about the new game mode the new style that we knew walking in from that first trailer, which was 3D World. They said, hey, this is the only one where if you transfer to this style, you'll lose everything you built because so much is different, it can't translate one-to-one. And some of the stuff they show is that, for example, you can climb trees. That's a fundamental thing, right? That you can't do in the other ones as in the same way. But also, you can play as Cat Mario, has all of his stuff that he has, obviously, from the main 3D world. But just, they threw in, like, literally everything from 3D World, it feels like, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I was surprised at just how many 3D World elements are present in this. And they can only really do this because they split it off into, hey, like, it's not compatible with the other four. I think that's fine, right? Because, like, they include stuff like beat blocks and the moving block, warp blocks, all sorts of crazy enemies, all sorts of crazy elements, crates, which just fundamentally change how you go through a level, you know? And it's just like...
Yeah. Even stuff that's not even in the game, like a car.
Like a car, yeah.
Which I want to explain a little mystery, because the Super Famicom logo popped up, and I thought, what? Why?
Yeah, I've seen stuff. Yeah, earlier today I saw an article that kind of people are speculating on the actual reason behind it.
Well, essentially, in the Japanese Direct, they play the Super Mario Kart music over that little segment, where in the or because they didn't have voiceover for that part, but in the English part they didn't do the Super Mario Kart music in the Direct, so it feels extremely out of place.
Right. So the Super Famicom thing popping up is just like a sound effect somebody placed on the car that you get. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But it was very confusing when we first saw it. I was like, what?
I was like, why?
But it's very clearly like a Mario Kart reference, I guess, like a Super Mario Kart in particular.
Well, it's a shame because there's not gonna be a Mario Kart outfit now.
Oh yeah.
No amiibo costumes.
No amiibo costumes. Yeah. No,
most likely, which is
98% sure.
Really disappointing for me because everything else is great. It's gonna overshadow it for sure.
Yeah.
Right, but. There was something special about the first Mario Maker that people would make, specific themed levels based on other franchises, and have you playing as those characters in those levels, and that we're gonna miss that in this game, and that's a little disappointing because I don't think it would have been that hard. I know there's a lot of licenses involved.
Well, I think the two main things are licensing, and then another thing that we'll talk about later.
But the Nintendo ones, come on.
I mean, but I think there's another reason for that, though. But also, I feel
don't even say Death of Amiibos, because I'm on Suicide Watch.
No, it's fine.
Death of Amiibos, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
It relates to one of the modes that we'll talk about later. But the other thing is... I don't know
if we're going to talk about it. What do you think it is?
Online multiplayer.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So... but the other thing I think with the Amiibo costumes... this is not relating to why they're gone, but... One thing that makes me a little bit okay with them being gone is that means less Super Mario Bros. 1 styled levels,
Sure.
Because it is the most limited moveset, It is like you can do the least with that theme, right?
Because it was the thing that was replacing like the Tanuki leaf or the propeller.
Yeah. But like for example, like in the new Super Mario Bros. Style, you can triple jump, you can wall jump, all that stuff, And then of course Mario World, Mario 3 also have their own unique stuff, and Mario Bros. 1 it was just like, it's Mario.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool. There was, I feel bad that like a Goomba's Tale or whatever it was called, that whole level where you play as a Goomba the whole time, and it's like this weird story, stuff like that.
Really cool stuff with it. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
And then, there's a section that we're gonna miss, like Metroid theme level or Donkey Kong theme level, stuff like that is gonna be missed.
Yeah. But in its place, if you want to have levels to play, there is a story mode that they confirmed.
Yes.
Which is crazy. Over 100 courses have been made. They said, it's basically a whole Mario game's worth of levels. And the part of it will be that Peach's castle's been destroyed. You got to build it back up, and you need coins to do that. So beating levels will get you coins. Collecting coins in said levels will give you extra. And along the way, they view it as a way to help you see some examples of types of levels you could make, with Nintendo's developer sort of giving you examples, which is cool.
So the 3DS version,
really awesome.
Which doesn't really get talked about for a good reason, honestly, because it's missing like core components of what makes Mario Maker. But that aside, 3DS version had like a single player with about 100 levels or so, and finally it had those clear conditions that are in this game, only for those levels though. And I'm glad that Nintendo took that, be like, hey, let's put this full-fledged story mode in there, and let's take those course requirements and put that into something everyone can do, right?
Yeah.
I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
And because this game, requires pretty much for the core functionality of Nintendo Switch Online subscription, having that big, meaty single player, if you don't have that, or just when you're playing offline, right? Like the Switch is portable, right?
Yeah.
So taking Mario Maker somewhere else, you'll have... There's a lot to do here, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so all that's obviously there. There's some great little like the dog, the undo dog from Mario Paint is like a character.
Yeah.
The little like eraser man from Mario Maker 1's there. That got a chuckle out of me. But then they go into the online, which was a thing that like because we sort of assume there will be multiplayer in some aspects of like building, which there is.
Yeah, so they showed off the
building.
co-op building. You can
Yeah.
two people on one screen can build together, which is cool.
Yeah. But as they went in a specific order, really, where they showed off the course world, where you can, sort by popular, by most recent, by all that other stuff. But they also showed off two different search functions now in addition to course ID. I imagine the basic search will just be keywords, but you can do advanced search where you can specify style, and you can tag levels now, which is a big deal. Some of them were like... speed run, puzzle based, to sort of specify because you can make auto scroll. Yeah,
put all those goddamn levels in one place.
It's good. But and so that was cool because it now means, because with Mario Maker 1, really the best way to find any level was just with course ID, which is this 16-digit code. Now there's better ways to find things that you're looking for more specifically with the tags.
Yeah.
And they kept Miiverse comments basically alive with it as well now too.
Yeah, with color. You can draw in
Color. It's very exciting. Which it smells like a small thing, but they really added a lot to the levels in my mind. It made it feel like there was a communal aspect to it, of just like when you would die, you would see all the X's and all the comments being like, I hate this, and you're like, good, someone else also died here. I don't feel as dumb.
I'm glad they put this in because I feel like the two games that used Miiverse best were Splatoon and Mario Maker, right?
Yes.
And I'm glad that their sequels both kept a functionality that pretty much like, it's in there, like you don't need actual Miiverse. I think those are the two most important games, and I'm glad that both of those games
I agree.
made sure to put them in the sequel.
Remember Miiverse?
So those
Back
were cool.
in POG form.
Back in POG form. And now you have a maker profile. So if you make levels and people like them and people play them, you'll get more points. And with more points, you can unlock little customizations for your avatar. Some of them are...
Excuse me, you're me?
You're me. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You're me. God damn, dude. How many years has it been?
It's true. But that is cool because that ties into the online multiplayer. Where there is versus and co-op, and you are one of four players: Mario, Luigi, Blue Toad, and Toadette. And it's really, I was very excited to see Toadette in all these different art styles. Same for Toad; it was very cute. But you can,
I like that too.
Yeah. But you go and this is the first ever online 2D Mario game. They said that they would never do this.
When they showed this, I was like, my jaw dropped. I was like, oh my god, like. We can play 2D Mario online. Like this,
because it was specifically one of those things they said they wouldn't want to do.
Yeah, I mean, even Mario Party still doesn't have online for fuck's sake, right? So it's like I felt like 2D Mario was just never gonna happen. And when the new Super Mario Bros. U port came out, it was like, okay, this still doesn't have online multiplayer, right? Yeah. And then they showed this off, and my mind was blown. Like, oh my, I've wanted this for so long, right? Yeah. And like just being able to play 2D Mario with other people, fantastic.
Yeah. So, and the one thing that is nice is because I'm sure that a lot of people have experienced multiplayer Mario in some form with the mini New Super Mario Brothers games. This is the first one where you have your own exclusive screen, which means you won't be limited by the person in the back because it is competitive. You're trying to get ahead in the versus mode, and in the co-op mode, it's just if one of you beats it, then you all collectively beat it. Right. So it is nice because I think that there's a fair amount of people that like had fun but found it frustrating. Right, and so I think that will lower a lot of it, and the fact that it's now incentivized to be bumping into each other rather than like just you being a dick feels differently. The only question that there's also a network play option, which is where one of you is connected to the online, the rest of you can connect. The one thing that surprised me was if you look in the lobby where they had the leaderboard, there's 5 people listed. when it seems like there's a max of 4 people that can play at a time. I don't know how that's going to work exactly. So that is for local play because you can't do co-op on the same Switch, which is a disappointment, but is the nature of having to not share a screen with someone.
Yeah, I mean, with everyone having their own screen, it's just unless they did split screen, which would be horrible. Let's be honest. No, you don't want to play this game in split screen.
No. So the one thing they did not this is just me having a minor panic attack. They did not confirm that you can actually play with friends online. I can't imagine you won't.
I don't think there's a single Nintendo game online that you can play online that you cannot play with your friends.
I mean, you
baffled.
Yes, but there's always a chance.
I really hope not, because it would be a huge misstep.
Yeah. That would be a mess. I mean, because the closest problem is like Splatoon, where you have to like join your friend's lobby. You can't party up beforehand.
Yeah, but you can always play with your friends.
But you can still play with your friends.
That's been with literally every single Nintendo game.
So here's hoping.
One, actually.
What's the one?
Metroid Prime Federation Force Blast Ball.
I don't know why you had that retained in your brain.
I don't know either. But
that's why we never played that shit.
Remember
I was trying to figure that out. I remember that. Oh man, I could never remember why. I was like, why the hell didn't we never play that mode? Now I fucking know.
Now you know.
And I think we tried to play it, but nobody was playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess it's worth mentioning one final little thing is that you can download levels to play offline. So that's cool. So like, if you're on a plane, download 20 levels, have some fun with Mario.
Was that not a thing in the first one?
No. The problem was that because you didn't have to move, the Wii was so stationary, it wasn't a big problem, right? So I think there was,
I
but
think
it
Mario Maker 1, you could download levels, but the thing is, it would just show up as like one of your made levels, and then so like you just kind of see everything in the level.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like,
so that's cool. So that, and then they wrap it up with that saying to tie into this, because almost all of this requires Nintendo Switch Online. Mm-hmm. 2 bundles or two promotions they announced basically. One, you can get a year of Nintendo Switch Online plus Mario Maker for $70, which does, if you already have Nintendo Switch Online, it stacks, which is surprising. Good deal. $10 for the year. That's, if you got that Twitch Play thing, you can have up to like 3 years of
3 years for $30. $10.
not bad at all.
Not bad at all. But then that exists, and then as well there is, what is it? The vouchers system.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
So I'll explain this if you don't mind.
Okay, go for it.
Pretty simple, right? You buy 2 vouchers for $99, mm-hmm. And then you can use those vouchers for. You don't have to use them at the same time. You can use those vouchers for any game that Nintendo has published for the next year. They expire, I should say, a year from purchase, and you can use them on anything that Nintendo publishes. So, for example, you buy 2 vouchers right now, use one to pre-purchase Mario Maker, and you could use the other one to buy Fire Emblem. Next month. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that collectively, what would normally be $120 if the year in the U.S. comes out to be $100, so that's $20. So essentially,
Yeah. So go on.
No, so so either way, you can either view it as like you're getting a game for $40 or you're getting 2 games for $50. Either way, it's the same amount of money, but it's a very neat thing because Nintendo games are infamous, partially of their own Nintendo's own choice, for never going down in price. Right?
Yeah.
And as someone who buys like literally every first-party game that Nintendo puts out,
I'm pretty much guilty of the same thing, except for remakes.
I'm very happy with this. I just being able to get a Nintendo game day one and it is cheaper. That's fantastic.
It is. It really is. And ever since Gamers Club Unlocked, shit the bed, and Amazon Prime's been backpedaling on all of their stuff. We've been looking for some sort of deal, because we buy a lot of video games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like we want those games day one for a discount, and this is the only way. And also with this, what's cool is that what is it called? God, I totally lost my train of track. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Saf, edit this out.
No, it's fine.
He will not.
So, the thing I think is also cool is that I've said this to I think Moose at least before. I either buy a Nintendo game at launch or I probably never buy it because of that price situation, right?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much same.
Yeah, and so, but now it's like Pokken, right? I thought for the longest time, man, I like Pokken a lot on the Wii U, but $60, come on. Got those 2 vouchers, downloaded Mario Maker. I was like, you know what?
Because like the thought process is you're buying Mario Maker anyway, right? So you would have bought that for $60. Extra 40. Get
Pokemon's on my thing. I'm playing as Machamp, having a great time.
Yeah. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say.
Downloaded it.
The fact that they also still give you gold coins back is even crazier to me. You know.
Yeah.
So it's like $100 and you get $5 back to use on the next one. You know. It's like,
So just buy 20 of them, $2,000, you get a free voucher. That easy. Bada bing, bada boom. What a deal. Yeah. So that is generally the direct. Very cool. Like I said, we went almost as double the length of the actual direct itself because that's how much is there.
but like Mario Maker 2 has exceeded my expectations at this point.
Yes.
You know, like it is like I was already excited for it, but like I was like, it's more Mario Maker, right? But like they have truly justified, hey, this is a sequel, right? Like you know, they could have called this Super Mario Maker Ultimate, you know, like
It's very much,
it's the equivalent. It is insane and
Yeah.
and things that pretty much everything that was on people's wish list is there, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just, it's great to see.
Yes, and like I said, it's coming very soon, June 28th, not even July.
28th?
So that'll be fun. Oh, they did say, this is worth mentioning, there's a few things that we still don't even know. They said they still have more to announce. Right next to 3D World, there was an empty space, clearly indicating another extra style.
And in that space, it says additional styles.
Yes.
The plural. So there's clearly one more style at least.
Yeah.
Whether that's DLC or in the base game, who knows? But there will at least be one more style.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the other style could be.
Super Mario Brothers 2.
Right.
2? Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to have the whole pulling mechanic and all that other stuff that isn't
I mean,
shared.
because of the additional styles, this kind of opens the door to like you're no longer limited to the tile sets of the other 4 games, right?
Yeah.
Like you can just go wild, and so this opens the door to almost anything, to be honest.
Super Mario Land 2. Get it in there.
I'm into that.
Yeah, dog. And then there was a little thing that we know that was in the Japanese Direct for a split second. There's a little hammer power-up that we don't know what that does. So that's just, you know, they still have E3 before this game's out. We're going to hear some stuff there. They announced a invitational happening June 8th at E3, which was...
Very, very weird.
Well, they had one before... Or was the
I remember that.
And
The
that was
Nintendo World Championships. And so Mario Maker was the finale of those 2 tournaments.
John number.
But now, or I guess the other one was Odyssey. But the first one, the finale was Mario Maker. Right?
Yes, and it was playing this whole new level. You know, that it's that whole feeling from the Wizard.
But now they're just doing a whole invitational just for Mario Maker. And so that whole day, that Saturday before E3, like they're doing a Splatoon 2 tournament, they're doing a Smash Bros. Tournament, and they're doing this. So it's going to be a good day.
It's going to be a fun day to just sit around on my ass and watch video games.
Yeah, dog. So that's all stuff. Like I said, look forward to it. Less than a month away. Woo, Lord. Speaking of potential things that could happen at E3, Ubisoft had their little forecast thing they were showing off for the fiscal year of 2020. They delayed Skull and Bones, which is that pirate game.
That is a next-gen launch game. Mark it down.
This game has got delayed a couple times. I wonder what if it's.
Oh my god! I always forget this game exists.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with this game. This and Starlink was the other one where everyone would forget that this game existed until it was brought up, and it was like, oh yeah, I guess that will be at 33.
No, a game
now we can assume that it won't be at 33 this year. But
yes. But a game that had a similar type of delays was For Honor, and they said that they specifically did it for For Honor to add single-player content because at the E3 the year prior, people said we would like some. And they had a whole story mode in that. And I wonder, Skull and Bones had a very similar thing of like, it's only multiplayer competitive, like this isn't quite what we were looking for. I wonder if the delay is to add more of a single-player type component.
I mean, at this point, this is like a multi-year delay, right? Like, this was supposed to be out, I think, in 2018.
Yes. Yeah.
And so now, like, I mean, I think this is a good sign, though. I think that,
it is a good sign for this game, definitely.
And I think, to be honest,
shows
like,
they care.
I think a late-gen release would have been weird anyway for this game, because it's just like, at that point, who cares, right? But I think that capitalizing on the next-gen consoles when content will be sparse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it always is at first.
I think that would be pretty smart for this game in particular.
And it'll have a neat little like symmetry with Assassin's Creed 4, which clearly inspired it, right? Where Assassin's Creed 4 was right at the start of this gen, maybe.
Yeah.
But they did say as part of that, though, that they have 3 unannounced new AAA games in the fiscal year of 2020, which means before April 2020.
And they're all launching in January to March, in the last quarter of their fiscal year.
Yes, which is weird.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. There is so sort of just some potential things. I mean, if we're going to see them, probably going to see them at E3, right?
Yeah,
Please
for
be
sure. They will
Nintendo
100%.
collab on one of them.
Well, because those are so we have Watch Dogs 3 has been heavily rumored. Essentially,
That
all
is
but confirmed.
guaranteed to be one of them.
Don't care.
Set in London, Watch Dogs 2 has had a continual rise at least. 1 had that big unveil, then 2 had people generally view better. So maybe 3 will be this.
I'm gonna be honest. I remember people talking about the first game, but the second game, I feel like it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Watch Dogs 2 sold way less, but
Yes.
from the people who played it, the reception was pretty positive. It was like, oh, hey, they did the things I wanted in the first game.
Well, maybe I should give that game a chance, but I don't know. The first one sucked.
Yeah, the first one was especially because it was so high profile as like the big first, next gen game.
Yeah.
But that will probably be one. In terms of other things that the other 2 could be, there was a man who works at Ubisoft, has worked on the Splinter Cell team, tweeted an image being like, "Here with the guys making Ghost Recon and Division and Splinter Cell, we're having a great time together." And everyone went, "Did he just confirm a Splinter Cell game?"
Super casual, yeah.
Jason Schreier. It's been a couple weeks since I've invoked his name, but he's back. Went on Twitter and said, "View this more as like a guy drunk tweeting than like a confirmation of anything." But I mean, it would be very strange to me for this guy to specifically mention Splinter Cell for there to not be something.
Yeah.
But
Reset
You would
era.
just have a Jason Schreier withdrawals. I could feel it.
Yeah. Well, Reset era admin Jugex, EX, who is a very reliable man, I would say.
he has a good track record.
Has said that a Splinter Cell game is in the works, but it is very early. So don't expect that to be one of the games for this fiscal year.
I didn't see that. Okay.
Next gen.
So
Next.
probably, yeah. It has been 2 years, like you mentioned, Brandon, since Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. So I wonder, they might have something.
I mean, Ghost
to show.
Recon Wildlands came out in the same year, and that game's getting a sequel this fiscal year. So I feel like it's not too crazy to be like, oh, maybe, especially because that game is of a much
Smaller scale. Yeah.
Than Ghost Recon. So I think like a sequel, a direct sequel to Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle would be decently likely, I would think.
Sign me the fuck up. I loved that game.
It was a really cool
people
game.
did. It came kind of out of nowhere, and like
Yeah, it was really
Great
good. I had a
reception.
lot of fun playing it.
Yeah. And then, so I mean, and then there's always Ubisoft, to their credit, has a lot of willingness to try out new IPs every so often. We heard that Assassin's Creed is skipping this year to sort of get prepped for next gen as well.
Good for him. That's what I like to hear.
And so, maybe there'll be something we'll never see coming. Maybe they count Just Dance as a AAA IP. I don't think they do, but there's always a chance. They don't. They don't.
Also, and the thing is, like, with Ubisoft, like, it could be anything, right? Like, For Honor, Steep, The Crew, right? Rainbow Six Siege, these are all wildly different games.
What about motherfucking Rayman? What about my boy?
Yo, I mean,
talked
AAA
about it
Rayman
just
would be
a couple
very
weeks ago.
weird.
But,
Okay, well, you know what? He's AAA to me in my
it's true.
fucking heart.
It's true.
All right? It's AAA to me.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it really could be anything, though, like, it's just like, these guys kind of just do anything and everything, which is what's kind of cool about Ubisoft. I think they are, like, the premier third-party publisher.
if you look,
Like,
they're the
AAA
only
publisher.
people that have gotten more prolific this generation than the last generation. And I think that speaks
they're
to it.
they're one of my favorites now, for sure.
I mean, because like they're the only ones who are like consistently releasing a lot of games, right? And they've pretty much all been pretty high quality, right? And it's like it's a lot of huge scale games. So like this idea that everyone else is like, oh, huge scale games are hard, so we only make like 1 or 2 games a year, and then Ubisoft's out here pumping out like 7 games a year, and it's like,
And they're trying new weird
Well, I
things.
mean, yeah. Okay,
and-
I mean, they've got to develop. They've got multiple development studios.
Oh, yeah.
Not just Ubisoft
They have a ton.
themselves.
Yeah.
So.
oh, for sure. But it's just like EA is the same size, you know what I mean? But it's like,
Yeah, well,
but like
God.
look at the output of EA and compare that
Yeah.
to Ubisoft. It's not
In
even
comparison.
close.
I mean, yeah, because it's funny because I think they were almost ahead of the curve in some ways. Because I remember when Assassin's Creed 2 came out, there was like the thing of like 1,000 people worked on Assassin's Creed 2, and I was like, that's so huge. Like, what are all of them working on? But it means that they've had time basically to figure out how to have these multi-studio development cycles work, where even people like Rockstar that have been at this for decades, we've heard how much struggle they had. And BioWare has had tons of struggles with this. And Ubisoft sort of seems to have figured that system out in a way no one else has.
Ubisoft is the model for AAA games, I think. You know, like,
in a lot of ways, yeah.
And it's because it's like I mentioned, they're big games. There's a lot of them. They're trying a lot of different things, and all of those games have a long tail of support through DLC, through updates. You know, so it's like it's crazy just how much they put out. You know, and it's like I would say like they are the model for AAA games.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
So I mean, like I said, that'll probably essentially be our E3 preview for Ubisoft, right? It's just like these are the things, and we'll see where it goes from there. But I want to give a little bit of a shout out to a game that we haven't talked about because none of its stuff is like huge enough to really like dedicate a whole segment to. But Crash Team Racing, Nitro Fuel got announced back at the Game Awards, right? Has quietly, like, they don't advertise this is the weirdest thing. Like, it was in the description on the Amazon page that we saw, oh, there's Crash Nitro Kart tracks in this. And now, we found out because of a press event and because of background stuff that now there's Crash Tag Team Racing stuff in here as well. And that, like, it's getting up there to having a track list basically as big as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and a roster about as big as well. And like truly, I mean, I guess the thought is that like if we're going to do a Crash Team Racing, there's not enough to justify 2. So like just put it all in here. But this thing's $40.
It's so weird though, because it's like the way they announced this just 5 months ago, it made it seem like this was just a remake of the first game. Like you would think they'd tout these things, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like no, like it's just like actually the scope of this game is way freaking bigger than you thought it was, and that's great. That is just wonderful.
Yeah. So that's just super cool, and I love having more kart racers exist, period, right? Like, Sonic Team Racing's coming out in a couple days. It may not be out when this podcast is up, but, you know.
Is it?
It's.
I think it's somewhere on there, anyway.
Yeah.
But, like, it's soon.
But people are not excited about that one, so I'm happy to have Crash as this. I don't like Crash, right? Like, I think he's an ugly man, but you gotta respect them. You gotta respect what they're doing with it.
I mean, when you said, I mean, I like Crash, but when you said double, like at least the size of the roster of Mario Kart 8, my first thought is, who the fuck are they going to put in this game? What?
It's a lot of people.
Not that many characters.
You would think they find them. They find them in the trash can.
Yeah, no kidding. There's just like the most.
I mean, that's not good, right? Quality over quantity. I mean,
but the game looks good is the thing. Is the thing.
Oh no, I'm sure, but it's
I mean, for things like
character selection wise, I'm thinking, oh, Spyro, or there must be a bunch of like fucking guest characters, Shovel Knights, you know, in there probably.
Probably. I was watching a stream and there was a character named Pinstripe who's like a little mafia weasel, and I was like, who are you?
First game. He's a boss in the first game.
He's a boss in the first game with the one with the fucking Tommy.
But like, it's just like, I mean, Crash just has like all these. The worst thing is, I mean, which is hilarious, is like these kart racing games just add even more just original characters, and they're all just like trash tier, you know.
Now hold on, you can play as the polar bear, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, no. I think it's fine. Like, it's not. I don't think that these playable characters are taking many resources from the game. I mean, we can see, right? The rest of the game.
No, they're not.
Amazing.
It's just funny to me though.
Yeah.
When you mention Crash Bandicoot with the size roster of Mario Kart 8, that's just my first thought. Who the fuck?
When Mario Kart has to pad with babies, who does Crash have?
Yeah.
There's kart customization and stuff too, by the way. That was pretty neat. And the other thing is that a lot of the tracks they're doing almost a reimagining type deal with the Nitro Kart and the Tag Team Racing tracks because they were designed with a different engine in mind. So they're restructuring and they're scaling things differently to make them work better in the game they're making now, while keeping the base sort of huge parts of it there, sort of like how Mario Kart 8 did with a lot of its retro tracks.
Like, I think people were asking before this was announced, like, how do you do Crash Team Racing and make it like as appealing as the Crash inspired trilogies, where those were 3 games remastered in one, right? So how do you justify Crash Team Racing by itself for the same price tag? Apparently the answer is, hey, include even more games content, right? Like throw in Nitro Kart, throw in Tag Team Racing, why not? And that's very cool.
Yeah, so that was I wanted to give a shout out because normally Activision, big old turds so much of the time. They're doing good. They're doing all right by us here. Mm-hmm. And then one final very small thing, Genesis Mini got announced a couple months back. They've added more games to its roster, but I just want to give a shout out to the fact that we finally have a re-release of Mega Man: The Wily Wars, a game famously very hard to find a way to play.
Only on the Sega channel. But isn't that only in the Japanese one? Or is it
No, that's in the English version, too.
The English version as well.
Baby! I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. I mean, in its own way, I think that ever since the SNES Classic, I think that it would be cool to get one game, because there's that Capcom arcade thing. It has Alien vs. Predator in it, the arcade game, and like that's one that there's nowhere to find in any other format. So I think that having like that one game that's just a genuine rare collector's item on your thing inherently makes it that a lot more.
You
more
gotta have that. It's like Earthbound on Super NES Classic.
Or Star Fox 2. I mean,
Star Fox 2?
That game never came out.
I mean, so like the Genesis Mini is shaping up to be like, I think the best mini console we've gotten.
Right?
It's like, I mean, the fact that that there's 40 games, right? We know that, and the 30 that have been revealed so far have been pretty freaking great, right?
Japan's getting a Yu Yu Hakusho game on there.
And like, sorry if it's going too long that you were expecting, Will, but like,
no, it's fine.
The fact they also announced the fact that hey, like we're any USB pad works with this thing, right? So if you're gonna do multiplayer, you're not just limited to the controllers that are in the box, right? They will be selling 6-button Genesis arcade USB controllers for like $15.
Sega, get back in the console business. You got my blessing. Do it right now.
Tommy Tallarico's making an Intellivision. You can manage it.
It's like this thing is shaping out to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is someone who has zero nostalgia for Sega. You know.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna pick one of these things up. It's looking to be a great product.
I'm a big Sega mark, so I definitely will.
And I think it's also cool because for so long the Genesis, like there was a while where you would go like when you're in line at the store and just like, here's a $20 Genesis box, here's 50 Genesis games in one, but like the emulation was garbage and the controllers felt like trash, and like
also half those games were like these fucking shit ass games that they made. They weren't even Sega games.
No,
they were. It was awful. Those were just the worst.
And so it's not, because I thought that would just be it forever. So to finally get like this, like, no, like here's a pretty definitive.
Here's a proper way to do this. And like this is, I mean, I'm pretty certain. Time will tell. But I'm pretty certain this thing will sell better than the PlayStation 1 Classic did. You know, that's the product that should have been a home run. You know, and that just goes to show you like how much like the love and care put into these kind of products matters. You know, it does. And I think Sega will be rewarded for that.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah. So there we go. That's the news. Like I said, a lot of it. Thank you for sticking with us through it. But I had a great time engaging in that conversation. And now I'm going to have a great time engaging in this conversation about the list.
The list.
The list.
That is it. We're up. Last week, Ills added a game to the list. Ills, what game did you add?
I believe, I don't remember.
It was Fire Emblem, the Sacred Sons.
Fire Emblem, the Sacred Sons.
Wow, it was so bland I forgot about it.
It's, that's a pretty good.
That sums up our conversation from last week.
Yeah, made it 75 on the list. Pay spin below.
Yes. Look at the pay spin below so you could follow what the hell we're talking about.
Yep.
Yes.
Muzamil, you are adding a game to the list this week.
Yes.
What are you bringing to us?
I'm scared.
I'm adding a game that we have all played, that we all, I think, enjoy. It is a classic from 2017. I think that 2017 gets this rap for being like one of the best years of gaming ever, right? I think this game.
So far, it is.
And I think this game is one of those reasons. Being Cuphead.
Ah.
Yes. So just re-released on the Nintendo Switch, and that is how I played it. So I played it for the first time. And let me tell you, I was addicted. I played through that game in a single weekend. It ended up being almost 20 hours. And that's a lot,
Yeah.
Especially for me, who I tend to play games in much shorter sessions, right? And then Cuphead, I was just enamored by,
It's so addicting. You just want one more boss, right? Or one more try.
One more try. It's just you constantly have that feeling. And so Cuphead is this game that when it was shown off, I think it immediately had positive reception, right? But because of that, it had such high expectations to live up to, right? Because at its core, you see this game, it's gorgeous, right? It is in the style of a 1930s cartoon, cartoons from that era. It's very reminiscent of that look. It's very authentic, down to the sound effects, down to just the little effects that happen in this game.
Got the film grain in there and
It
everything.
is an immaculate
Audio
aesthetic.
pops.
What's happening? Sorry, go on. Will, you were saying something?
I was saying, it has an immaculate aesthetic. Like everything is just perfectly intertwined.
And it's just so authentic, right? And it looks incredible. But because of that, like I said, like the game had very high expectations. But like playing through this, it lived up to them, you know. So the game is split up into your boss levels, which is I think the core of this game, right? And what this game started out to be only be.
Yes.
And these bosses, first of all, Cuphead controls amazingly, right? I feel like exactly what you want to do, that is what Cuphead will be doing on screen, you know? Like anytime that something happens that you fail, it's your fault. I really do believe that with this game. Because like you just have such precise control over Cuphead. There's all sorts of great customization options, and then the bosses themselves they're all so unique just in their design, in their gameplay. Sometimes it's one single static screen, sometimes it's a whole wide, like you're climbing up a tower, you're doing all sorts of crazy stuff, right? The boss attacks, like, are so... They all have a tell, right?
Yes.
But, like, it is things that you can definitely figure out with time, and things that it is a game that you constantly like, oh, I messed up, let me just try one more time. It nails that feeling.
And that's one of those
things. That trial and error, but it's perfect.
Yeah.
And you touch on with the tells there, sorry to interrupt, but like,
go on.
Because the aesthetic is so strong and because it's so expressive, right? Like these characters are big, they're giant. It really... I don't know if it's all hand animated. It feels like it is. It looks like it is, right?
It is.
Yeah, it is. And so like it really, the visual language of the game is not just like the aesthetics are just very pleasant to look at. It helps the boss fights feel more fair because of it being so clear with its language.
It's frustrating because you're frustrated at yourself, never at the game, never once. And that's really saying something.
Wow. That's a testament to like a hard game. I do think there's a couple bosses.
King Dice.
I was gonna say the robot. Actually, I feel like the robot was the most frustrating for me. But overall, I think for like 95% of the game, like I do think it's pretty fair. And like that with that strong visual language, it's like, it also the bosses themselves are so dynamic, right? Like just the way they transform mid battle, it kind of blows your mind at just how crazy they get, right? And that's just a lot of fun. And then there's also the run and gun stages, which is funny because this is the thing people really wanted. I still really liked them, but they are the weaker part of the game, right?
They're the weakest part of the game,
but,
for sure.
And but also it's a smaller part of the game, right? Like it's like two levels per world. It's how you get coins, which is how you get power-ups. And then you can increase your moveset options even more, right? And you have this idea of, like, you play a boss a couple times and then you think, maybe I should back out and use a different weapon, right?
Yeah.
And just all that sort of customizability. It just blends into this really wonderful game. By the way, the soundtrack is fantastic.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. Cuphead, it's a really fucking good game.
It is. It is.
So where would
I rank it?
Yeah.
Yes, that is the question, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Now, see, here's the thing. We have a lot of really good indie games, like Shovel Knight, etc. I feel like it deserves to be much higher, though. I look at Sonic.
I think it. Yeah.
I look at Sonic Mania. It came out that year. Sonic Mania, fantastic game, but I think Cuphead goes much higher. To be honest.
Much higher?
Oh my god, the setup. Just tell us.
Oh god.
Well, I'm thinking. I'm walking through my own.
Okay.
Honestly, I think this is one of my favorite games just already. Like, I fucking love this game. I would put it right around, I don't know where exactly, but right around Symphony of the Night.
Golly. That's very high.
I know, it's asking a lot. I don't know, I'm not even sure if you
I was looking in, like, the Octopath space.
Yeah.
Maybe either above or below red and blue is where I'm sort of looking at.
Sure. Yeah.
Why?
Because I think that, like, when I look at Resident Evil, when I look at Link's Awakening, I'll probably put it above Octopath now that I look at it. But I think that you're getting into a space of, like, Resident Evil is a genre definer, and it's such a wonderful remake that also has this really strong aesthetic to it. Link's Awakening has its own, I think Link's Awakening is so lean and mean that there's very little of it that I would cut, and I think that there is, the run and gun levels, while they're not bad, are certainly just fine, and I think that...
I think they're good pace breakers, though.
They're okay. Yeah, I mean, they're okay, but I would think that, I don't know. I would still put it just below Link's Awakening in my mind, because I think that also, like, the story of Cuphead's very cute, and there are some great moments in it, but I think that Link's Awakening has those moments where you're of so many different aspects, right? Where it's cute, where there's these moments of discoverability, where you find out things you didn't think were going to happen, and then these moments of, like, surprising emotional resonance that hit with the characters that you've come to like. That I think those things make me have staying power with me.
Yeah. Brandon, where are you feeling?
I mean, Will's sitting here talking about two of my favorite games of all time.
I know.
Comparing them to each other.
I know.
It's no secret that, I mean, you guys have known me for a while. When Cuphead was, like, at E3, you know, every time I got, like, delayed, I would be, like, disappointed.
You were bummed.
Like, I was looking forward to this game.
Yes.
And it met my expectations. Like Muzzy said, they were high for me, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. I was not disappointed. And it's not like the perfect game ever, right?
No, for sure.
I mean,
but I do think
it's just really,
it's really
an fun.
Incredibly well designed, just blast to play. You know.
Yeah, you can tell the amount of work that you can tell why it was delayed. I mean, they did so much work.
There's a lot of polish.
Just the fact that they hand animated all that stuff,
and just personally, like from how I rank games, right? Whenever a game I feel like has a singular vision, sets out to do that thing, and it executes it so well, just for me that puts it a few spots higher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta give it.
And like I feel like Cuphead turned out like pretty much exactly how the creators wanted. You know?
Definitely. I mean, the problem is, you know, this at least at bare minimum, like this top like 20, 25 games, all are very, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about some of the best games of all time.
I mean, yeah, like it's hard because I think this category does have a lot of singular visions. Like, I think Earthbound is one.
Undertale.
Undertale. Link's Awakening. Brandon, here's the question: is it better than DKC2, Brandon?
Why are you baiting him? Why are you baiting him?
No, it's not. It's not. But the problem is, I think it's better than Left 4 Dead 2. I think it's better than Undertale. I think it's better than... I think it's better than Octopath. I even maybe think it's better than Resident Evil Remake. But Resident Evil Remake, to me, is a weird one. I love it a lot, but it has more problems to me than Cuphead. But... yeah, that's the thing. I don't think it's better than Donkey Kong Country 2.
Wow.
How many times do I have to talk about this guy?
That's because when you casually blew past it, my eyebrows raised, so I wanted to...
I don't want to casually look past it, but like...
it is what it is.
You know, I'm not falling into the trap here of...
No, I understand. I just wanted to make it verbally clear.
Where are you feeling, Brandon?
He just went.
I mean, I'm feeling like...
No, but I want to know a spot.
I feel like I'm really having a hard time.
Ills,
like, I want to put it above Undertale, but I also feel like that's wrong.
Okay, Ills, where? First of all, you didn't really talk about much of the game. I don't know. Was there any thoughts you had that we didn't talk about, maybe? Or
no, you pretty much covered it all. It toes the line between being difficult and never getting to like the super frustrating, like smash your controller thing. Which I think is, you know, it's perfectly balanced like that. King Dice is kind of a bitch, but I mean, it's also, you know, it's just like an extreme level of trial and error, just like everything else.
If anything, I feel like the loading times were the biggest problem I had with King Dice.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it was funny, my final run with King Dice, I had to fight all 9, and I did it, you know? Like, I learned all 9.
Yeah.
And that was
the thing was, too, is when I finally beat King Dice, I didn't even take a hit.
Whoa, big boy over here.
Yeah, so it's like...
I think I got like an A rank on him.
I think King Dice... I think it's a well-balanced game, because each of the mini-bosses in that are simple enough, right? It's just that having the loading times in that level when you die can be... It loses that one more try element, because it...
I didn't really feel like that was an issue. I don't know if maybe the loading times are a little bit longer on the Switch.
They are.
No, actually, well...
I played it on the 1X,
yeah.
Maybe...
Oh, you played it on... I was going to say, because at launch, if you played Cuphead at launch, the load times were actually longer.
Well, I did play it at launch, but I recently actually replayed the game.
Oh, okay, sure.
And you know, my most recent memory was not really having any issues with it. So,
what else were you thinking about in this game?
I was thinking below Undertale. To be honest.
Okay.
And also recently we replayed it in co-op, by the way, which we didn't even touch on.
Oh yeah.
That's the reason I replayed it. I had a friend who really wanted to play it, so we played it in co-op. And,
co-op is very
it was
cool.
really fun.
By the way, the Switch version is immaculate. It is just like
That's really
that
good.
game is perfect for the system. Truly.
Thank you, Microsoft.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Microsoft.
to our friends at Microsoft.
So wait, Ills, when you say below Undertale, you mean like firmly below Undertale, or like right, or you're talking about just right below?
Right below Undertale.
Okay.
Which is where I wanted it. And I was just going to say that when I was thinking about this game, I always compared it to like Mega Man games. I can't think of a single Mega Man game I would put above it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's some praise, right?
I genuinely agree with that. And Mega Man is fantastic, you know. But like, yeah, I think
I might agree
might
with
put
that. And I
X
never
above
even
it,
thought of it
but-
that way.
I'm fine with putting it right below Undertale. I don't know about the other two of you guys.
Sure.
I mean, I want it above Undertale, but I think I'm in the minority here.
Yeah, I would not want it above Undertale. I'd be cool with beneath it though.
Okay, so I think we're settled then, right below Undertale.
All right. So there we go. That is the list for this week. Muzamel continues to be a coward and pick games he will rank high.
I just
Let's call
right
it.
after
Thank you for calling him out.
Right after I played this game, I was like, I want to put this on the list. I'm sorry.
Padding the average, it's fine. But surrounding it, other games that are ranked highly. Number 14, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Number 15, Undertale. Number 16, Cuphead. Number 17, Resident Evil Remake. And number 18, Tales of Symphonia. That is the list. That is the podcast for this week. As I start to wrap up, Ills, if you would ponder on your final phrase. But while you do that, let me mention that you have made it this far in, so surely you enjoyed it. So rate us 5 stars on your podcast service of choice. If you would like to listen again, you can follow us on many different places, such as SoundCloud, on Twitter at twitter.com/jumpupsupercast, on facebook.com/jumpupsupercast, and on twitch.com/jumpupsupercast. Will is not going to be working as much in the coming months because he works in the school system and it's the summer months. So I'm going to hope to stream more during that time frame, and get us up to 50 followers on there so we can be affiliates. We want to thank you all for listening. We hope you've had a good time.
Wait, can I make a statement?
Yes. Okay.
Good, you can make the last
is a-
statement
this is-
because I don't have anything.
Okay. This is now the final phrase.
I took it. So,
Oh, wow. Hold on. Can I steal one from you real quick?
all right, yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
We're all getting one in real quick. Hold on.
Oh God.
We also have another show. It's called the Jump
Thank
Up
you,
Supercast
Brandon.
Game
Oh
Club.
yeah.
I knew that was shorter than normal. I forgot what I did.
And I'm the host of that show. And every 2 weeks we come together and talk about a video game that we played. And this week we played a game that I chose for everybody. It's called Second Sight. It's a game that I don't think a lot of people have.
I've never even heard of that
so-
game, truth be told. So,
Dennis
Go.
Dyack.
Oh, Muzzy.
well,
Better listen to it.
All right.
It was a game by Free Radical. So they're the Time Splitters guys. Also, a lot of people from Rare,
Makes a lot of sense.
GoldenEye and stuff. So, yeah, check it out. Every other Thursday.
every other Thursday. All right. Well, my final phrase, I guess, is split into two. Number one, I am going to commit. Okay, it is time every Friday. Besides tomorrow. No, not tomorrow because this podcast doesn't even go up till Monday. So yeah, every Friday from now on, I will be streaming. Okay, I don't know what time.
Oh.
I don't know what game.
Whoa.
I don't know. But I am going to stream every single Friday on twitch.tv/jumpupsupercast. On the list, I have Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
Oh Jesus.
I have, that'll be a pain to watch. I'm just gonna tell you, it's gonna be painful to watch, but I'll be streaming it.
Bloodborne.
Bloodborne, a distinct possibility. I play Bloodborne on twitch.tv/jumpupsupercast. Croc, The Legend of the Gobos, which I owe Kevin for our E3 bets from
very
last
dumb
year.
I don't know who that is.
That is I have to stream that, and then at some point, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD. That every Friday I'll be streaming something, probably from after I beat those 4 games. Maybe we can see what else, but yeah.
Maybe you should play your.
You know what? You should stream your fucking
Yeah.
New Year's games.
You know what? Maybe that's on the list
I
after
had that
those 4
thought. I
games.
might start with the Witcher Gaia for me.
All right. So I have a lot to stream. So Friday's my day. All right.
All right. That's part 1 of your 2 final phrases.
Yeah, and then part 2 of my final phrase, E3. It's around the corner, okay? It is time. It is time to get hype because this E3, guess what? It's going to blow the door open on next gen. That is exciting, all right? So look forward to it. And Sony, I hate you for not being at E3.